Hello, everybody. Welcome to Late Night Baltimore. It sure is late. It's 2:30 in the morning. And I got the sickness, the COVID. That's all right. It happens. All right. Like and subscribe. Get that over with if you can. And share because we need people to watch. All right, then. Let's go to Gavin Newsom. He gave a speech today. And let's listen to some of it. He was addressing California is going to redraw their districting, do some redistricting. It's on the ballot now for November, so to offset any shenanigans by Texas to build to make fake new mid-decade extra seats, which was what Trump demanded, and they always do what he says. So they're working on that in Texas, but Gavin Newsom has ideas here in California to offset. Let's take a look at that there. Let's see. Technical issues again. No, we're doing it. And let's share this, and we will hear now. Turn on the sound.
J.D. Vance's name is Alex Padilla, not Jose Padilla. That's the Vice President of the United States. It's another museum not so far away from us. Talks about those 53 days. Some of you know what I'm referring to. Wake up, America. This is a serious moment. Yep. Wake up to what's going on. Wake up to the fear, the anxiety. Wake up to what's happening, not just here in Los Angeles, where we saw our streets militarized. We saw our due process rights thrown out the window. You heard the word disappeared. I was with a 12-year-old boy born in Oxnard, California, whose mother and father were disappeared. 20 years going to the same packing facility every single day. He didn't even know how to get back into his own home, into his own house. Had no brothers and sisters. He has now disappeared in an attempt to find his parents. That's Trump's America. That's the moment we're living in. So these are sober times. And so I'm deeply grateful to all of you for standing up and for being here today. I'm grateful for all the elected officials that are here, members of Congress, not just our 2 U.S. senators, to members of the California legislature for having the courage of their convictions, for standing tall and standing firm, to recognize today is Liberation Day in the state of California. And as Senator Schiff said, Donald Trump, you have poked the bear, and we will punch back. Here's the good thing about California, folks. We're the size of 21 state populations combined. We're the 4th largest economy in the world. We're not a small, isolated state. I know they say don't mess with Texas. Well, don't mess with the great Golden State. And so we're here with our state of mind, with the clarity of our purpose and conviction to recognize that we need to reconcile the world we're living in. We do have agency. We're not bystanders in this world. We can shape the future, and that's what we intend to do today. We're here because Donald Trump, on January 6th, tried to light democracy on fire, tried to wreck this country, tried to steal an election, as Alex just said, by trying to dial in for 11, almost 12,000 votes. And here we are, in open and plain sight, before one vote is cast in the 2026 midterm election. And here he is once again trying to rig the system. He doesn't play by a different set of rules. He doesn't believe in the rules. And as a consequence, we need to disabuse ourselves of the way things have been done. It's not good enough to just hold hands, have a candlelight vigil, and talk about the way the world should be. We have got to recognize the cards that have been dealt. And we have got to meet fire with fire. And we've got to be held to a higher level of accountability. So that's what this is about. It's not complicated. We're doing this in reaction to a president of the United States that called a sitting governor of the state of Texas and said, find me 5 seats. We're doing it in reaction to that act. We're doing it mindful of our higher angels and better angels. We're doing it mindful that we want to model better behavior, as we've been doing for 15 years in the state of California with our independent redistricting commission. But we cannot unilaterally disarm. We can't stand back and watch this democracy disappear. We can't stand back and watch this democracy disappear district by district all across this country, not just in Texas, but in Missouri, where J.D. Vance went just a week ago, in Indiana, in places like Ohio, in places like Florida. We need to stand up, not just California. Other blue states need to stand up. We need to be firm in our resolve. We need to put back. So we're here in that light. And I'm grateful to have remarkable partners in the legislature. It's a tall task. We're asking them for 2/3.
The Senate just passed a massive energy bill that changes everything. Starting in 2026, the solar programs that have been paying homeowners thousands of dollars are getting gutted. And this year is your last shot to lock in the full benefits. Right now, solar companies in Maryland are rushing to move panels before the cuts hit. Deals include no net cost installations, battery systems, and yes, you can still get paid in 2025 just for putting panels.
Of legislative consent, but this is the difference. This is the difference between what's happening in Texas and what's happening here in California. We didn't receive a phone call from the President of the United States to then quietly go in the back room and start drawing maps and legislatively try to jam them through against the consent of the people. We're doing precisely the opposite. We're working through a very transparent, temporary, and public process. We're putting the maps on the ballot, and we're giving the power to the people. This will be the first redistricting that's ever done. That's the difference. We tried to raise the standards, and these guys are not playing by any set of rules. So this time requires us to act anew, not just think anew. And so I'm grateful to all of the remarkable leaders that have stepped up this unifying effort here in the state of California. And we'll be asking for the people on November 4th, a special election coinciding with a lot of local municipal elections, to provide a temporary pathway for congressional maps. We will affirm our commitment.
All right, that's good. Okay, and also, here's another odd thing that happened. While the Governor Newsom was delivering that speech yesterday, well, wouldn't you know it, watch this here. Ice. Wait. Here we go. Oh, wait. Yeah, man. Share screen. Guys, share screen. Here we go.
Donald Trump and his minions, Tom Homan, tough guy.
Oh, here we go.
Donald Trump.
Recovered.
You think it's coincidental? No. Donald Trump and his minions, Tom Homan, tough guy. Clearly decided, coincidentally or not, that this was a location to advance ICE arrests. Indiscriminate? Perhaps. We'll find out later. It was certainly indiscriminate when a 15-year-old disabled boy had a gun put to his head in Los Angeles trying to go to school just a few days ago. I know don't need to belabor this, except I want to level set. People are scared. People are fearful. You had a United States Senator who was thrown down on the ground in a federal building. Alex Padilla. J.D. Vance's name is Alex Padilla, not Jose Padilla. He's the Vice President of the United States.
They're right outside. They're right outside. Coincidence? No. Also, Trump sending all these National Guard people, but he couldn't send no National Guard on January 6th when he was sitting around watching TV while the Capitol was invaded in D.C. That would have been a nice time to do it. That doesn't seem to matter to anybody, really. Nobody ever talks about that much. But he can send National Guards out around now. Would have been nice. What is it? 187 minutes of TV watching. Would have been nice if he would have gone live. It would have all ended on January 6th. But anyway, so here in Baltimore, we understand that the National Guard will be here probably if not this week, in a couple of weeks. As the dear leader hates Baltimore almost as much, probably more than he hates any other city. He hates us and we hate him. But this is for the National Guard people when they get here on their time. This is what to do in Baltimore. Let's see, get this okay. Let's start this.
If you're looking for a coffee, start your day by walking along the path around
if you're going to be
Baltimore's Inner
here,
Harbor, which is an excellent spot to admire the scenery and get some fresh
might
air.
as well get
If you're looking for a coffee break or snack, Matriarch Coffee is right on the harbor and has delicious coffee and great views. The National Aquarium is also a must-see. They have tons of exhibits that are fun for all ages, including lots of colorful fish, jellyfish, turtles, stingrays, horseshoe crabs, sharks, and dolphins. Also, check out Lexington Market, one of the oldest running public markets in the United States. It's fairly small, but worth a visit. And if you've ever wanted to drink in church, check out Ministry of Brewing. It's an old church that's been converted into a brewery with tons of unique beers on tap. Fells Point is another fun area to explore with lots of bars, restaurants, and shops. Grab lunch at Alexander's Tavern, a casual spot with local flair and dishes. And one of our favorite dinner spots in Baltimore is Tagliata in Little Italy. It's a bit of a splurge, but the food and ambiance is excellent. We hope you enjoy Baltimore as much as we do. Comment if you have other favorite spots in the city.
Okay, there, National Guard. Places to go in your off time while you're walking around Baltimore. Being stupid. Okay. Yeah, you can't really help it. So that was that. And now here's a trailer for a film. And this is where we're all going. We have to keep these things in the front of our minds. Past. And this is something from the past. But it's coming back around, huh? So let's take a look. Let's get this okay. All right. Yeah, people let it happen. That's what's happening now. We're letting it happen. Not us. If anybody's watching, not us. We're doing what we can to fight it. All right. Now here's a clip of some stupid stuff. Let me check this. All right, here is Tim. I think it's Tim Miller. And he is on a show with stupid Piers Morgan. Boy, I wish Larry King was alive to see how much he won in the end when he got replaced by stupid Piers Morgan. We all owe Larry King an apology. We thought he phoned things in. But compared to that doofus, Piers Morgan. All right, now let's watch this. Dean Cain is talking, who played Superman. Okay, ironically, Dean Cain wants to be an ICE agent. Dean Cain, first of all, has a worse dye job than I do, and you figure he's in Hollywood or whatever. He has handlers that you think would do a better job. Also, it's so sad when MAGA tries to have their own celebrities. It's hilarious because they got the dumbasses. And the character that he did play, Superman, in kind of the dumbest iteration of Superman, was an undocumented immigrant. Okay, buddy. Okay. All right, let's watch a little of it and see what's happening, because Piers Morgan says something in here is so hilarious.
Yeah, but Dean, let me ask you, where do you draw the line?
Well, that's not for me to make that policy. That's up to Director Lyons and Congress. I mean, these are things that Congress should be dealing with, and they should make those laws, and then our ICE agents will dutifully perform those duties. I mean, they'll take care of whatever the law.
But you must have an opinion. You must have an opinion where that line should be drawn, because we all agree that the southern border being closed is a good thing. We all three of us agree that people who commit crimes when they're in the country undocumented, crimes that are not related to their immigration status, that they should be deported. So we've got broad agreement on those two big planks of the policy. The issue that Tim and I have is that we do not believe that just going into Home Depot and grabbing anyone who's undocumented is a particularly American thing to do, particularly if they've been in the country for a long period of time and built lives in America and are contributing to society and paying taxes and so on. So my question before I go back to Tim is simply, if you were helping them reframe the law, where would you draw the line in terms of who you would allow to stay and who you would deport?
Well, it sounds like you agree on policy but disagree on tactics. On tactics and the way they're doing it. The way they're rolling in. Usually... No, I don't, because I don't agree with deporting everyone who's in the country undocumented. Do you? Everyone who's in the country undocumented? Well, that is not my decision to make. But I know that if you're in any other country undocumented, my opinion is if you're here illegally,
what's your opinion, Dave?
I'm trying to give it to you. If you're here illegally, you should have gone through steps to legalize your status. And there's been countless opportunities to do that. There has been tons and tons of opportunities to do that. And you broke the law when you came here. It's the same as in any other country. You've got to find a way to legalize yourself or self-deport, or else ICE will come and they will deport you.
Okay, Timothy, your response to that?
And this is crazy, what he's saying, and I disagree with the tactics and the policy. The tactics have been, again, brutal. I think that Dean Cain wants to turn the country into something that looks more like an authoritarian country. We have negative people coming in, people going out. We have people in masks. Look, Dean was on Fox the other night, and Jesse Waters asked him, "Will you hop out of ICE vans and start apprehending guys?" And Dean said he'd be willing to do that. This is crazy. This is not a TV show. Like, this is real life. The idea that somebody who is not trained would join ICE and join these guys that are putting on masks and jumping out of U-Hauls at a Home Depot and nabbing people, it's a horrible policy. It is un-American. It is not how we should treat people. It does not show a respect for individual rights in a free country. And the policy itself of deporting these people of deporting everybody that is here undocumented is a crazy policy. It would crush the economy. Donald Trump's even backtracking on this policy because his friends in the ag industry have called him and said you can't deport our ag workers. And then on top of that, not only is the policy bad, and not only tactics un-American of these masked thugs jumping out and grabbing people, but ICE is screwing up over and over again. They don't need more agents. They certainly don't need more untrained actors as agents. Right here in Louisiana, I'll just give you two. Madonna Kashanian, she's a 64-year-old Iranian grandmother. She came here as a student. She did everything that Dean said. She was trying to get asylum. The U.S. kept kicking the can on that. She kept going to appointments. She's gardening outside her home, and she gets picked up by ICE. She was in detention for a week. Jose Francisco Garcia Rodriguez, 73-year-old grandfather. He emigrated on a U.S. boat from Cuba and tried to get asylum. Had a paperwork mistake. Arrested by ICE, held for a week. George Redis in California, 25 years old, worked as a security guard, U.S. citizen. ICE grabbed him, held him for 3 days. And this, we can argue about this. This doesn't even get into the Venezuelans that we sent to CCOT, many of whom didn't come to the country illegally. They came legally. They sought asylum. They came across the border. And rather than sending them back to Venezuela, ICE and Kristi Noem sent them to a torture prison in a third country that they weren't even from. So, ICE does not need more untrained agents right now. ICE needs to learn how to follow the law and treat people who have not committed crimes with respect and with the concern that people.
These 100% grass-fed beef sticks from Paleo Valley are 30 sticks for just $36 right now.
People who are not trained are going to be doing these jobs.
Sure. Two things I would say by way of response. One, I've not seen any evidence that people are going to be poorly trained to be ICE agents. They'll be recruited as they always have been and trained. Well, but you're talking about trained ICE agents.
They keep grabbing people.
I don't think wearing masks. I don't think the way.
Here it is.
Yeah, but my second point was we all know why they're wearing masks. It's because they're being doxxed left, right, and center on social media and having their lives threatened. Of course they are.
No. This is bullshit. For starters, we have evidence ICE agents aren't being trained. It is. Really quick. Let's go back to George Redis. He arrived at work. He was a U.S. citizen. ICE agents surrounded his car. He identified himself as a U.S. citizen. They broke his window, pepper sprayed him, and dragged him out. He was in detention for 3 days. So we do have evidence that they're not being trained to respect people's rights. And on the masks, this is crazy. Do you know how many judges have been threatened? You know, if you're a judge and you have there's a case that is happening, you're a prosecutor, and you're targeting a murder suspect. These guys have been threatened. There have been judges whose families have been threatened. Their lives have been threatened. There are a lot of people in public life who have been threatened. You still don't get to wear a mask and be a secret judge. Not in a free country. You don't. I'm sure you get threatened. I'm sorry. If you're an agent of the government, if you're a representative of the people, you need to show your face and name yourself so that you have accountability. That is a totally reasonable ask. And so I have no sympathy.
Let me get Dean. All right, well, I'll get Dean to respond, but there is an irony, of course, that all the people who campaigned so aggressively for everyone to be masked during the COVID pandemic are now furious about the wearing of masks.
All right, let's go over that again because this
is crazy. Do you know how many judges?
This about the mask.
These guys have been threatened. There have been judges whose families have been threatened. Their lives have been threatened. There are a lot of people in public life who have been threatened. You still don't get to wear a mask and be a secret judge. Not in a free country. You don't. I'm sure you get threatened. I'm sorry. If you're an agent of the government, if you're a representative of the people, you need to show your face and name yourself so that you have accountability. That is a totally reasonable ask. And so I have no sympathy.
Let me get Dean. All right, well, I'll get Dean to respond, but there is an irony, of course, that all the people who campaigned so aggressively for everyone to be masked during the COVID pandemic.
All right, that is, and there are actually
reasonable ask, and so I have no sympathy.
Let me get Dean. All right, well, I'll get Dean to respond, but there is an irony, of course, that all the people who campaigned so aggressively for everyone to be masked during the COVID pandemic are now furious about the wearing of masks. Dean, your response.
That guy Piers Morgan is an idiot, and that is the most hilarious thing I've heard in a few days. People who are getting upset that mask agents are wearing masks are the same ones. It was okay when everyone had to wear a mask during COVID. All right. Okay. All right. I think that's all. I think that's all we got. I'm quite ill, so I think that's all I can give you. The Ravens are in preseason. I don't follow preseason games anymore, but that's all right. The Ravens. Let's see. Let's check on the Orioles. Well, the Orioles are 55 and 66. It's weird that they won tonight at home. That's good. Orioles won tonight at home. They're 55. They beat it's 55 and 66. They beat the Mariners, but hopefully the Orioles will be paying people in the offseason, getting at least for the next 2 to 3 years, because this is the window for that. All right, now I do believe that's all I have for the night. Let's see what's going on. Any Ravens news? I know it's a lot of clips and a lot of observing clips together, but getting used to all this stuff. Okay, let's see what the official news on the Ravens is. Tyler Linderbaum explains why the Ravens don't have contract drama. They got a watch party for the season opener. Oh, that might be cool. Okay, let me see that. Okay, the Ravens announced Thursday that they will host a 2025 watch party, kickoff edition, on Sunday, September 7th at M&T Bank Stadium. The event will celebrate the start of the 2025 regular season and football festivities in Baltimore. The Ravens' Week 1 matchup features a 2024 AFC Divisional Playoff rematch against the Bills. Cheerleaders, mascot, Poe, and all will be out there. Gates open at 6:30, and tickets are available now for $10. Huh. That's kind of cool. Wait, I don't understand. If they're playing Thursday, how are they? Oh, I'll see. It's going to be a stadium watch party. All right. Start the time. Oh, it's in Buffalo. Wait. Wait, the game's going to be in Buffalo? Yin Yang Twins will be there. They're a popular platinum-selling hip-hop duo. All right, then. That's cool. Watch party, September 7th. Okay, everybody. That's all we have for tonight. We'll be back tomorrow with, hopefully, it'll just be football. And hopefully, I get the negative results on the test. That's all the results I got when I was in school, negative. Maybe you get one. All right, everybody, have a great night. And remember our slogan, F MAGA. And we stand by that. So F MAGA, everybody. And watch, subscribe, share, and all that good stuff. And like. Yeah, like. You gotta like. It's a big thing now, they say. Okay, everybody. Thank you.